I'm joined now with Eric Croak from Croak Asset Management. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course, I'm excited.
So the financial world, it's very complex. You know, what is a financial advisor and how did you get into this world? Break it all down for us.
Totally, let's break it down. It can be complex, right? So that is number one. It doesn't have to be. I would compare like a financial advisor, the right financial advisor, right, to a personal trainer. Right. The only thing that I do differently than anybody else is I straighten everything out. I put it in one place. I make things easy to watch, easy to handle. Throwing things into like more bite-sized elements is huge, especially for younger people starting to save. And then as kind of people are building up wealth and 401ks are getting bigger, right, and decisions are getting bigger, that's when you can get in more complex stuff, right? Hey, how do I avoid stock market losses, and how do I trade this way, or should I buy this? All that stuff kind of comes with time, and we certainly do that too. But initially, hey, like, let's get us on the right foot. Let's get us going on the path we need to be going down, which is hopefully a money-making path instead of a money-spending one.
Yes.
But all of those little things, throwing it in one spot and kind of just being a partner, right? I just want to walk clients through the day-to-day financial life and say, hey, you might want to tweak this every once in a while, but just do some checks and balances.
And for someone who's getting ready to take financial control over their life, what is the first step? What do you recommend?
Yeah, make enough money, right? Make more money, I guess.
Exactly.
Cash flow is the number one issue that people have, right? There's more going out than coming in. A lot of young people kind of tell themselves, hey, no, it's going to come in later, or I'm going to get there and so I can spend it now. That's when you get in credit card debt. That's when you get kind of in downward spirals. Getting those big ticket items, right? Your rent or housing, your car, your savings, your health insurance once you're there. Once you have those big ticket items in place, then you can take a look at your plan per se and just spend what's left. And if you're doing that, you're going to be in a fine place in life.
And let's talk about credit card debt. A lot of people pay the minimum balance. They think that's the right thing to do, but they're still finding they're not making a dent in that debt. You know, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, credit card debt, and I'll add another one on there. Minimum student loans on federal student loans, right? Because what's happening is there's an interest rate, and so your account balance is going up by whatever that interest rate is. And so if you're paying less than that, which many of the minimum payments are, both on loans and credit card debt, then your interest is going above and beyond what you're paying, and that's where you get in that hole that you can't climb out of. There are a lot of tips and tricks with credit cards, especially, that you can follow to get yourself out of that hole if you're in it. But it's important to not get in that hole anyways, right? Because interest is so high. And so with credit cards, you're looking at 16 to 25% interest, right? And so on 10 grand, that's $1,600 to $2,500 a year that you're just giving to the credit card company.
You're just digging your hole deeper.
You just dig and you dig.
And you never get out.
Exactly. And compare that then to a mortgage, right? $10,000 on a mortgage, you're talking a 3% interest rate, so you're paying $300 to the bank. You know, and so those varieties of interest rates are super important when you're going to look at the debts that you have, right? And that's, people say good debt or bad debt all the time. There's probably no real great debt to have, but the lower on that interest rate scale you can get, the better it is to climb out of, the easier your life gets, and that's where you're really in a controlled spot in your financial life.
So let's talk about investments. What should we be putting our money into?
Favorite question, right? And so, like, here's what I'll tell you. You tell me, where do you spend money?
Me personally?
Favorite spots, yep.
Oh man, I mean, my husband probably could list a million things. I love to
he
go.
He probably doesn't want to know.
I know, like, please,
Wait a minute. Yeah.
I love to go shopping and going out to eat. I would say those are my top two.
Great. Favorite place to shop?
Oh man, Ann Taylor.
Okay. That is a very fashionable answer, right?
Thank you.
So here's what I'd say, and full circling that to the investment conversation, like, look around where you're spending money, right? I'm imagining you have an iPhone.
I do.
Right, and so do I, and so does half of this building, right? And so we know how much an iPhone costs, and we know that we all have one, right? And so where you start looking at where you're spending, right? Ann Taylor is probably part of a bigger brand, and I don't know which one. I wish I did, but those big brands, well, you're in the stores, right? You see how many people, like Costco lines on a Saturday. The Toledo Costcos are insane.
You don't go to Costco on a Saturday.
Can't do it.
No.
Right? Exactly. Like, that's like the #1 rule of the day.
Right.
Same from a wider scale with like Walmarts and things like that, right? And so where you see kind of the world spending money and you see these huge advances in the world, that is where I love to invest. Now, getting in earlier rather than later will help you out in that situation, right? So easy example is Tesla, right? People, I would imagine the general consensus is electric cars are coming, right? Gasoline-powered cars are probably reaching the end of their popularity. At least that's what a consensus seems to be. And so that's why Tesla has been such a popular stock, right? We can kind of see in this early stage that we're going to have a lot of success in the future. And then, especially from a not a sidelines investor, but someone who doesn't want to get as deeply involved, there are a lot of funds out there that group those types of stocks together, right? And so technology, like you can just invest in the top 100 technology firms or dividend paying firms, right? And then the dividend payers are your Walmarts and your Home Depots and your Verizons, right? All these places that you're spending money without thinking about spending money.
Right.
But when you take kind of a look back at your credit card statements or whatever it might be, where you see a lot of spending and where that spending is popular, it's probably a good spot to put your money.
So if I want to put my money into investing and grow my income, how much should somebody typically put in there, but also if they want to save their money as well? I guess what's a good balance?
Yep. So first thing, savings is very important. That is one thing I cannot help you with, right? So a bank is where you save. Banks do not lose money, but it's super important to remember banks don't make you anything either, right? If you have $10,000 sitting in your bank account and your interest for the year is probably 2 cents, okay? 2021 is a great example. Inflation was 6%, which means every dollar that you had essentially lost 6% of spending power. And we all saw that, right? Prices of everything increased last year.
It jumped.
But your bank account did not, right? And so your bank account should be basically your safety bucket. I tell every single one of my clients, pick your comfort number, whatever you can open your phone and look at and be comfortable with. It doesn't give you a heart attack. Pick it, fill that bucket, and don't overfill it, right? And so let's say it's 10,000. That, hey, I'm comfortable on my phone with 10,000. I like seeing that. Fill that savings up to 10,000, but don't go over it. Too many people love just saving and saving and saving and seeing that value grow. But the issue is you're just hurting yourself in the end. From there, that's when we get our money into investments, right? And if you can save on average, rule of thumb is 12% of your income. If you're saving right around there in your 401ks or in something that's growing, like the stock market, that will give you a comfortable life and allow you to retire on your terms and just kind of live the life that you want to, but you want to be right around that 10 to 12%.
And I'll be honest with you, I know nothing about the stock market, but as somebody who wants to potentially get into it, where do I begin? Because when you go online, it's so overwhelming. There's so much info. So where would you tell a starter to begin?
Yep. Totally depends. If you want to be an absolute self-starter, right? I know the stocks that I want to invest in. I like this company. There are plenty of online things that are fantastic, right? Robinhood, there's a place for that. TD Ameritrade has a great platform. Plenty of online guys that'll really start you going. Put $100 a month away. You'll see it grow. Acorns is a good one. It just takes your change and you grow it there.
That one.
And so technology in those instances are fantastic, right? It lowers the price. It makes it super accessible to everybody. Really, really good spot to start. Once you're starting talking about bigger sums, that's when, and I say bigger, just, the 5, 10, 15 grand or big enough to, hey, it's time to think pretty seriously about this, right? I don't want to lose this money anymore. It's not fun money. It is now real money. That's when I would recommend going and talking to somebody. Clearly, I'm biased in that category, right? But once you do, then we can give you like direction toward a specific goal. So many portfolios are age-based, which is saying, you are 30 now, you're going to retire at 65, so here's what we're going to do. What people can do and what advisors can do is say, no, I've got a kid to send to college in 18 years, I've got a house to buy in 15, and I've got a new car to buy in 3, right? And so how are we saving for each one of those while not forgetting about that 65-year-old retirement? And so when you really want plans and we really want are ready to like take a deeper dive and kind of just put some muscle around what you're doing, that's when I'd say, hey, find someone that you trust, find a fiduciary financial advisor, and I'll stick on that word till the day I die. But once you do that, man, that's where you really kind of get into that next level of wealth management.
And one final question before we wrap up our interview. What is some of the best money advice you've ever been given, or what do you live by?
So best one, my parents instilled me in this early, which is cliche, but I'll take it. Like, money is a tool for happiness, right? That is all it is. It is not an end-all, be-all. It is not your health. It is definitely a number 2 to being healthy. But it is in that second spot position. But it is a tool to go live the life on your terms, right? And so if you want to buy a Ferrari, let's go for it, right? But if you want to give a lot to charity, we can also do that. Or travel the world. Or give to your alma mater, right? All of these things, like money is the outlet to get you there. And so to see money as that, right? It is a tool for what you want to do next. It allows you to have a little bit more fun with it, right? It makes money less intimidating. It's saying, hey, I'm saving all of this for a reason, or I'm talking about for a reason, not just like, oh my God, like someday I need to retire, right? Because that's kind of that old school mentality. Now, no, let's have fun from age 22 when you graduate and start working all the way to 65. Let's spend a lot in the meantime, as long as we're taking care of the other stuff first.
Good advice. Well, Eric, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
What's Happening Toledo is going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.